Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On this week's show, I'm joined by Dublin Arsenal season ticket holders Eamonn and John Melia to review our season to date. And remember, this Saturday, October the 19th, will be the 35th anniversary of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. So why not join us in the River Bar for a great pre and post match celebration to celebrate this landmark occasion. So sit back and enjoy the show. Uh, to the lads that were pretty much from the start in the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club are here as always. First of all, it's been a while. John Melia, how are you, pal?
Glad to be here, Johnny. All good.
And also to a lifelong gooner and regular guest, Eamon, who are you, Donnelly?
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, John. Doing a bit of biking there. When I was at Leeds United, I kicked a lump of biking at Gary Sprite there, and he saved it. He saved me biking. So there you go. No, we're all good. We'll do a little review of the season, but I'm so delighted to have English League football to look forward to again. I mean, these international breaks are. It's like it's hard. Like whatever about the off season being 3 months or whatever, like when you get going and then it stops, it's really hard,
And we've another one next month. Oh.
Yeah, but that's the last one till March then,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like ripping our soul out and put it back in again. Yeah, where you left off. But we're back again, thank God. This coming Saturday against Bournemouth. It's just before we kick on, I suppose we'd review briefly, as I mentioned in the intro, John, the 35th anniversary of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club, quite a feat for the club to be so strong, and year on year now it's grown. Your memories of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club in the early days, I suppose, John?
The venues were smaller, the crowds were smaller. There wasn't as many games on TV at the start. I suppose if I look back far enough, all the games were in black and white. All the memories are in black and white. But there's been an awful lot of memories. An awful lot of good friends have come through the doors. A lot of people that I met 30 odd years ago that I'm still in touch with, and I'm delighted to be friends with. And it's never been bigger than it is now. That's been honest. Great venue, great people running the club. And we're getting big crowds in, so there's always a good atmosphere there. It's great to see the club as successful as it is. I mean, there's been ups and downs, as most, I'm sure a lot of supporters could have had, but at the moment we're on a good upward slope, and long may that continue.
Jonathan, can I just kind of comment on that, because
go ahead.
I moved into town from Findus, around the corner from where John was, in 1994, and it was at that stage. I'd been looking at the advertisements for the Arsenal Supporters Club in the Evening Herald, in the classifieds, just beside young woman seeks man with big rod, short album collection. Beside that, you see and I actually, maybe I was a bit of a tough, I don't know, but I felt I'm not going in there because none of these guys will care as much about the Arsenal as I do. I genuinely thought that until I went in and I met like-minded people, fellas like John here, who had the same passion for the club that I didn't know existed. Because in my bubble, I thought I'm the only one that cares this much. But it was populated with loads of people who cared as much, and it was good. And like, I kind of still, I look at the likes of John here and other guys that I've met around then. You kind of think, yeah, well, yeah, I know. I think I know him well. I know him 30 years at this stage.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's just gone like that. But like, I just want to give a shout out to, the great Mr. PJ Gannon, who was there at the start, and fellas like John McNamee, Darren Walsh, Mick Fogarty, John himself, fellas who kept it going, and many others, by the way, fellas who kept it going, and then that kind of fed into when Paul Brown and myself came on board, and then latterly Sandra and all those people. And I think we formed a very, very, good bond with a lot of people over the years. But just one anecdote before we review the season. I have a mate called the Grim Reaper, and his philosophy on life is every silver lining has a cloud. But when we were new to the supporters club, PJ used to give a speech at half time, But he also he used to take great pride, and he'd say they had the people who don't know PJ would have the slick back hair and glasses and the jacket immaculate with the cannon on it and all of this type of stuff. And he was up at the top of the room. I think we were losing at half time. We were all, and PJ says, "And I have a letter from Mr. Arsene Wenger, manager of Arsenal Football Club," as if we didn't know who was
being back there. They like right back there, yeah.
And he goes, "Dear Mr. Gannon, thank you for writing blah blah blah." The Grim said to me on one of the plane trips over, "One of these days, he's going to read out a letter from Arsene Wenger. Dear Mr. Gannon, please stop writing to me, or my solicitor will be in touch." But no, a great guy, and it was great to see PJ in the club.
He's had a few health problems, and he's looking great now. It's great.
He's looking great. Yeah, fair play to him. A legend.
Yeah, I have to say thanks again to Martin Stoneville, who takes time out to edit both the preview show and this podcast, and also part of the
different type of legend.
Yeah, different. Yeah,
we're a legend nonetheless.
Martin, are you listening? But you will be, no doubt, when you edit this. Big shout out to you. But as Eamonn and John says, big shout out to the whole committee, and obviously the fans that come in week in, week out to the club, and also that head over to the matches to support the Arsenal. It's growing year on year, and long may it continue. And also thanks to the River Bar for putting up with us week on week. Without them, of course, there'd be none. I'd just like to say, before we kick on as well, a comment on last week's show, the Southampton review from YouTuber at her father didn't like me. Interesting, comprehensive analysis discussion. I like the lack of drama and overreaction which pollutes many YouTube football channels. So I'd just like to say thanks very much for that comment. And as always, like, comment and subscribe, and all comments are welcome for our show. So thanks again for listening and watching us. We're going to kick off the season review to now, I suppose. Start off with the Champions League first, I think. 2 games gone. Atalanta away 0-0. The one most outstanding moment, I suppose, in that game will be the David Ray penalty save, and then the superb reaction to get to the ball the second time. And of course, second game, PSG 2-0. Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka, a superb 2-0 first half performance, and the second half to see it out, controlled the game pretty well. I'll come to yourself, John. 2 games gone, 4 points, 2 clean sheets. Are you happy enough with the start we've had home and away?
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people are looking at Atalanta, but they won the UEFA Cup quite convincingly last year. They really did. So that was always going to be a tough game. And that's a good point away from home there. And we want our best, there's no doubt in saying that. But I think this Arsenal team has got to the stage where, okay, it's not working. We're coming with a point, we're going home with a point. And when they seen the game wasn't quite there, they just settled in and says, right, that's it, we'll shut up shop. We'll take what we have and go home with it. And they're pretty lucky not to get a sneaky winner at the end now. If you remember, we had the breakthrough. The game had been PSG. The first half was probably the best half of football we've had this season. We played them on the park. We were far too quick, far too physical. We were much, much better than them in that first half. 2-0 was the least we deserved. The second half, we just managed the game. Kept them at arm's length. They reduced the long-range efforts. And that was a very, very impressive night, that was. So, yeah, 12 points, take that all day long against those 2 teams.
Yeah, and of course, with Shakhtar to come next Tuesday at home, you probably fancy our chances as well, John. Would you? You have to give. I suppose you have to give Shakhtar respect as well. But you'd assume at home, yeah.
They're not the team they were 5-6 years ago. Everything that's going on in Ukraine is not doing them any favours. But the fact that they got to the group stage of the Champions League They deserve a pat on the back for that. You have to play their home games in Poland. Poland and Germany, I think they're using for their home matches. But you have to give them a bit of respect. But you'd expect this Arsenal team to beat them. But that doesn't mean it's going to be a foregone conclusion. We've all seen Arsenal teams turn up and expect to win and shoot themselves in the foot. But I don't expect that from this team. They're too professional. They're too well coached.
Yeah, you can only see to yourself as well, Eamon. 2 games gone, 4 points. Solid start, isn't it?
Well, I'll be very brief. Like, it's a very good start. Like, you have to remember the Atalanta game, and John rightly pointed out, they absolutely carved Liverpool last season, right? The Atalanta game was sandwiched between Tottenham away and Man City away. And I think we were a bit like, we were trying to take a puncher's chance that night. We went at them early. If you remember, we would dominate the game for about 15 or 20 minutes. Then they got back into it. Then we were on the back foot. Then we kind of we withstood that penalty and all of that stuff. And we kind of decided, you know what? Sometimes you just got to tread water. And we treaded water that night. And then when the fizz went out of them, if Martinelli had got that chance now with a couple of goals he's got, he probably puts it in. He didn't on the night. And I think any of the reaction, any adverse reaction to that 0-0 draw in the context of being sandwiched in between Spurs away and Man City away is absolute lunacy in my view. I think that was a good point. And I think I said on the PSG review, in this competition, if you post your home games and get something out of your away games plus a bonus win away, you will not be far from top 8. So from that point, the PSG performance was excellent. So it's been a good start. Loads of work to do, but the one thing I'll say in terms of a review is I don't know where people got this notion that we'd some kind of easy match selection or easy fixtures. Far from it. We got to go away to Sporting Lisbon and Inter, I think, in fact, of the English teams, we got the toughest part. But look, we're a good team, as John says. We're well coached, and we have the big difference I've noticed this season. There's even more physicality in the team, and not only physicality in body strength, but physicality in the way they're approaching the game. There's even more of it, but also there's a bit more know-how, And when you're talking about Shakhtar Donetsk, we can talk about that again, but on another program. But you'd expect Arsenal. I mean, I remember we were 3-0 up at home to Anderlecht, John, and we drew 3 off.
Yeah.
You just don't expect that from this team.
That's not going to happen to this team.
Yeah.
Briefly as well, John, the way we play teams, 8 games, and you only played them once. Do you like that side of the new Champions League format?
It's early days. What it does is keep you interested because you just don't know how this league's going to finish. We'll know more once. This is the first time it's ever been done. We'll know more when we see it. It's a bit odd. I won't lie, but the whole point of this is that every game is going to count. That was the whole point of doing this, and I think every game will count. As Eamon said, you want to finish top 8, which means you've got to be focused. You've got to be on your toes. There's no, okay, we won our first 4 matches. Let's stick the reserves out for the next 2. You can't do that.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. So, it's a little bit more pressure on you. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. It has me interested for the first time in a long time in the group stage, let's be honest. Because you're not just looking at, beforehand, it was just Arsenal's group and that was it. Now you sort of have an eye on, okay, after 4 or 5 games, let's have a look and see where everyone else is sitting.
Yeah.
How are we sitting? And, you'll be looking at everyone else's performance. Who are they playing next? Are they at home or away? I think it might, it looks a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. They have to do something to shake it up. This is definitely shaking it up because I've never seen anything like this before. So I'm
telling you, John, whoever devised this format should be writing murder mysteries. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
It's something different, yeah.
I remember during the PSV review, actually, Eamon was on a couple of weeks ago. He says, "I love all this unorganized chaos."
It's organized chaos. Like, yeah. But John, you see, in the group stages, right, you could nearly look at with 3 home games, 3 away games. We need 10 points. Here's where we're going to get them.
And you get them.
And you get them. And there was dead rubbers at the end. And you know, you're being a hardy annual going out in the middle of December trying to watch some game because you want to go out and watch the Arsenal. But it little bit, this thing is all over the gaff. I really like it, you know.
As I said, I don't see it being done. I mean, even those teams who might be guaranteed a top 8 spot, they could get drawn the last couple of games against teams fighting for the top 8 spot, or teams fighting to get into the top 16 so they can get into the playoffs. There's no such thing as.
It was Bukayo Saka with the lead pipe in the conservatory, you know.
It's gonna be an interesting come February when it finishes. Just so many times, yeah.
Do you see yourselves like we've a pretty good team briefly, John? Do you see yourselves in the top 8 come the last game in January?
I'm biased. I'm going to say
yeah.
But then
it's going to be tough, though, isn't it?
But I'm sure there's 25 other teams who are all thinking, you know, we're going to finish top 8. Turn up, do the job. As Eamon said, there's 2 tough away games. Sparta Lisbon knocked us out the UEFA Cup a couple of years.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Inter Milan and no mugs. So, you know, you got to look at it and say, do the job and see what happens. I mean, I think we're good enough to finish top 8. But being good enough and getting the points are 2 different things. And like I said, there's more than 8 teams still looking at it and saying, we're good enough to finish top 8. Just get your points on the board and see where we go. Those games are going to be hard enough as it is. You know? Yes. The thing is, everybody has these kind of games. It's not really the same. Real Madrid lose one.
Bayern have lost as well.
Bayern have lost. It's not going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be easy.
Yeah, that's true what Eamon said there as well. Your home form is key, isn't it?
You got to make that count.
It's more important than it ever was now, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. It's more important, and I think every team will look at each game. Right, we're not playing these twice, but we're going to give it one. Like when we saw what happened to Celtic being hammered 7-1 against Durham, you know, it's definitely going to be their home form. We'll keep them thereabouts. So I'm really looking forward to now. It's chaos, but as Eamon says, it's great chaos. Keeps us all on the edge of our seats, literally. That's the Champions League side done with 2 games gone. Briefly, the League Cup next. We had a comfortable 5-1 victory a couple of weeks ago against Bolton at home. Really good performance from Eden and Wordy. I thought Sterling had a great game that night himself. Porter in goal. It was nice to see him. Pretty decent game, I think he had, in fairness. I know it was only Bolton, but it was nice for the young lad to get a bit of experience at the Emirates. And Miles Skelly looks physically a decent player, pushing. Not afraid to push around your man Hakimi that night at PSG, so he's a bit of balls about him. John, would you like to see a cup run in the League Cup? You know, a good run 100%. For the
100%. But this is where you need a big squad. You know, well, lucky enough we had. We're blessed. We have these 2 young players, 17-year-old Skelly and Verdi coming in, and they look really good. So it was great you could give them games. But it's also great you've got French players like the Polish kid, the fullback. Sorry, Kivior. Great to see you can give him a game. It was great that Carafiori's only coming back from injury. Like he needs game time. Give him a game. You know, you've just signed Sterling on loan. Give him a game. Jesus needs game time. Give him a game. It's great that you could do that. And that's what the League Cup, especially in the early stages, if you get the right draw, you can do. And we made the most of it. 5-1 win, a very comfortable win. 16-year-old kid in goal. He didn't have a lot to do, but who cares? He's 16-year-old. He got to play for Arsenal. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He won't forget that as long as he lives.
Yeah.
So congratulations to him. It's one of those competitions, you can stick your nose up in the air. All right, Mickey Mouse Cup. But if you win it, it's a trophy.
Yeah.
Give me the bloody trophy, You're not going to risk. You're not going to risk your big name players. That's what they're in the tournament. So you're relying on your fringe players to get you there. That's just the way you've dominated the game over the last 10, 12 years. They've won, 5 or 6 of them. Liverpool have won so many of them. The fringe players get them to the quarter finals. But it's the big name players to get into the final and win it. So if we're going to win it, that's what we need as well. So we'll look. I think you need to look at the draw. I mean, Bolton at home, thanks very much. Pressing away, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think the French players are good enough to go up there and get a result as well. So once you get to the quarterfinals, see who you get in the draw, you can have a look at it and see what happens. But it's definitely a trophy that I'd like to win because we haven't won it enough in our history. We've lost enough finals. We definitely haven't won it enough.
Yeah, it's 31 and a bit years, Eamon, since we last won it against Sheffield Wednesday. Paul Merson was in the team. He wasn't even thinking about going on Strictly Come Dancing. That's how long ago that was. How confident are you of a good cup run in the League Cup, Eamon? The pressing won't be easy.
Porter's ability could open doors. Say that to you now. No, but just to make sure we're all still awake, you know. You see, the world has changed since.
Yeah,
I mean, the League Cup used to be a big thing. When we won the League Cup, the Little Woods Cup as it was in 1987, John. I've said this. It was actually the catalyst for us winning the first event.
Yeah,
it was. We didn't have won that day because Ian Rush had never been beaten when he in the Liverpool team when he scored first. He scored first against us. As I say, I was trying to cover him at the end of the day, but we beat them that day, and that was a big thing in the history of the Arsenal. I was devastated when they lost to Luton the following year in the final.
Oh, geez,
and Nigel missed a penalty, you know. So look, it was a big competition. But you see, we've got to get a grip of ourselves here. We lost the final to Manchester City a few years ago when two makeshift teams. Well, they're not makeshift. They did an entire squad. But we, the makeshift team, played most of the competition. And then we got to the final, we put our best out against Man City, but we couldn't cope with them. And that was a disappointment because we started quite well in that game. But you see, we've got to be realistic. I mean, you're saying, would you like a good cup run? Well, we're playing Preston away next week. And by my reckoning, Odegaard, Havertz, Timber, White, Tomiyasu, Saka, Martinelli, Zinchenko, and Partey are all either have niggles or struggles. Now, you tell me in the context of the season, whether you're going to risk them to win the League Cup.
You got to get the balance right, yeah.
With Liverpool coming up,
I think as John said though as well, Eamon, there's enough depth there as well to, there is enough players to bring on as well, isn't there? Like Sitting and Worthy and Scott, yeah.
There should be, but you might be relying on some of these so-called fringe players to tug out against Liverpool at the weekend. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that's
what we don't want is I'd prefer if it doesn't go too well against Preston. Sorry, the Preston game is after the Liverpool game. It's before the Newcastle and Chelsea games, right? Both away from home. And if something happens and we don't put our best squad out, because of the way people have been picking up injuries and stuff, and it doesn't go well for us, could people desist from having an absolute orbital meltdown?
You'd like that, but I don't see it happening. People will lose that shit. They will. As you said, you've got to pick your team according to what's coming up. I'm not going to throw the rattle out of the pram that they lose to Preston. Because as you said, there's bigger fish to fry. But it'd be nice to have a go at it. And it's nice, as I said, if you want these free players to play, excuse me, you don't want them coming in cold. So, give them some minutes on the pitch.
Yeah, and I think the difference in the League Cup this year, though, John and Jonathan, is with the extension in games in the Champions League, and if you don't finish top 8 in Champions League, you're going to really test your squad.
Those two extra games will kill you. As you said, the League Cup is not what it was. Still a nice trophy to have, just to get you in the bank. Put it in the bank. If you can get a chance. I'm not losing the head if we don't win it. But if you get close, as I said, if you get to the latter stages.
Absolutely.
Then you have a look at it and say, maybe. As you said, you have to keep an eye on what's going on around. You really do. There's bigger fish to fry. There is bigger fish to fry. But you're relying on those young players to get you to where you want to be.
It's at the end of this month, the Preston game as well. So yeah, it's something to look forward to for the kids.
Just before you move on to the actual Premier League itself, Jonathan, I just remember last year when we went out at home to Brighton, who had their full side out and we didn't.
Yeah.
Like the stick Arteta took, oh my God, it was shocking.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous, yeah.
In the context of where we are, it was mad, you know.
Yeah, it was like Christmas wasn't going to happen at all.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that night Brighton actually deserved to win the match, Henry. To be honest, yeah, they played really well. But yeah, look, as yourself, John, and yourself, Eamon, there's bigger fish to fry. And look, we all love a Gold Cup run, but look, at the same time, you have to be realistic with what teams you can put out and what players are available, of course. Yeah. So with that game at the end of this month, we're going to move on to the Premier League review. Starting off with August, opening game was 2-0 against Wolves at home. Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka on the score sheet. Really good home performance for your first game. I don't think really Wolves causes much problems, and sadly the way they're going at the moment, it could be in a bit of a sticky situation with the relegation issues. But we were away to Aston Villa the following weekend. That save from David Ray, from Ollie Watkins, that's superb. Double save, incredible. Leandro Trossard and Thomas Partey got the goals. Really good away win against our former manager, Unai Emery. He has Aston Villa really going now, good guns blazing as well. So that was a really we said a draw when we were previewing the match. So to come out with a win and to start the season with 2 was really impressive. And then on the last day of the month, of course, a 1-1 draw against Brighton. Kai Havertz with a wonderful lob over for Brogan. Pedro got the equaliser, but of course, the ridiculous ending off from Chris Kavanagh for Declan Rice after about 3 or 4 minutes in the second half all but killed that game. And I think if it was 11v11, I think we would have won that game. Starting with yourself, John, for the August review, 7 points from 3 games. Good start to the month, wasn't
it? I've done the pre-season podcast with you the week before we teed off against Wolves. And you were nervous wreck. Jesus, John, we've got a really tough start to the season. Oh my God, it's not really fair when you look at everybody else. And I told you, it's a tough start, but everyone else we're playing, they don't want to play Arsenal early in the season either. And I've been proved right. If you just listen to me, Johnny, everything will be okay.
Sorry, Eamon, step aside.
I'm trying to get this point across. If everybody listened to us, John, you know.
No, sorry, it's not you, Eamon, it's John.
when you look, I mean, obviously there's an awful lot in the press now about too many games and the players aren't getting a proper break, and the European Championships went on forever, and there's not enough real proper pre-season work coming in. Every club has players coming back and they're not exactly where you'd like them to be at fitness level. And that goes across the board. That goes for every club. So you consider we got those points. We play a lot of players just coming back to fitness. A lot of players not at 100%. And Mourinho wasn't even available there. Big signing during the summer. Yeah, absolutely. You'd take those 7 points. And as you said, if it hadn't been for the red card, whether it was deserved or not, you know, we could have been more. It could have been more. And when you get to September, I'm sure we'll have the same conversation. So, yeah, good start. But, yeah, absolutely more than a good start.
7 points in 3 games. Yeah. John, the player that stood out for you most in August for Arsenal?
Early doors. Oh,
the 3 games, sorry.
I have to be honest, just not just August. I think since the season started, there's 2 players have stood out head and shoulders. That's Havertz and Saka.
Yeah.
John, I've just written down those 2 names on the
page. And don't get me wrong. I mean, the supporting cast has been good, but those 2 are just head and shoulders above everybody else. They've been absolutely outstanding right from the get-go. They really have. And they're the 2. I mean, Havertz has got to be one of the best players in the Premier League by a mile at this stage. He's doing everything. He's physically good in the air. He's physically good on the ground. He's first touch. He's holding up play. He's finishing. He's everything you'd want in a striker. Now, I have to be honest, when we signed him, I knew he was good because I'd seen him play for Chelsea against us the season before, and I said, Jesus, he's good. I didn't realise how good he could be. And he's found a level which there's no other striker out there playing at his level at the moment. There isn't. Haaland is a goal machine. He doesn't do everything else that Havertz does. That's been brutally honest. He's been absolutely outstanding. He's really impressed me. And Saka, I don't think the English football public realise just how good this kid is. I really don't. How does it debate that Parma should be playing out there ahead of him? Not a chance. Parma's not winner. He's much better than Foden. He's much better.
Only if you're Jamie O'Hara, you know.
Oh, yeah, he's a moron. But
you know, yeah.
I honestly don't realise how lucky he are to have him. What a player! His level is just up here all the time. He never dips. It's 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. And when you need him, it's 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
You know, it never drops. He's absolutely sensational. I think he's such a good footballer. He can play on anywhere in the pitch. He's already proved he can play fullback. Don't want him at fullback. I think he can play a number 10. I could see him playing wide left. I could see him playing anywhere. He's just got a football brain. I think he can do it all. Absolutely fabulous footballer. I'm over the moon. He's in an Arsenal jersey. He's one of our own. Can't see the ranks. How blessed are we? The English football public mightn't appreciate him. My God, we do.
Except Jamie O'Hara, who talks for talk shite.
I wouldn't, as I said last week, I wouldn't give him a job as an automated ticket machine in Scotland Hill Station. He's a gobshite, absolute gobshite, you know.
In terms of August, Eamonn, yourself, 7 points from, it could have been, in reality, it probably should have really been 9 from 9, but 7 points from the first 3 games, really good, really good start, wasn't it? Like solid.
Yeah, but you see, I said at the start of the season on that same preview show, John, you've got to take the first 3 months of the season in segments. Yeah. Especially the way the fixtures were configured, you know. And I think 7 points would have been a tidy return out of the first 3 games. You probably would have expected maybe to drop a point a Villa, you know, and post your home games. As it happened to work the other way around, we should have got the 3 points against Brighton. We were absolutely robbed that day with a terrible decision. But get over it. That's happened now. You know? Get over it. I keep getting videos, John. I haven't seen you in a while. I keep getting videos sent to me about fellas kicking the ball away. Get over it.
Get over it, yeah.
You know, it's done. It's gone. Post it. Move on. The team moved on. You know,
and that's the quite refreshing thing. The team have moved on. Yeah.
So it was a very good return, given how undercooked rice. There you go. Declan Rice was definitely undercooked at the start of the season because of the lateness of even B himself, even though his level. And I said it. Anybody who doesn't think Bukayo Saka's world class is asleep at the wheel. Forget about it. Right? He's absolutely world class. But he was a bit undercooked at the start of the season. And you know, Mourinho broke his collarbone signing the contract, as I said, and like all of that type of stuff. So to navigate those 3 games, good. Very pleased with that. And then you move on into the next phase, you know.
Yeah. Which moves us on into September, of course. And the first match straight after the international break was at White Hart Lane against Tottenham Hotspur. Really well earned 1-0 win thanks to Gabriel's header. Followed by the next weekend, which was another crucial game. And again, unlucky not to win this one. Manchester City 2-2, Haaland and Stones. Calafiori with that screamer on the left foot. If he never scores again, he'll be remembered as a legend for that. That he was incredible at that in September, actually, to be honest, Calafiori. And Gabriel 2-1 up at half time against City after going behind. I didn't expect that at all, and the red card for Trossard, it was 0.08 seconds after the whistle, which was just ridiculous. Again, the way the players defended though was just heroic in every way. We stopped City. City had no way through. We stifled them. They ran out of ideas, and they had to stick on a centre back in John Stones to try to rescue the game. That just shows to me, how well we done defensively that day. But David Ray again had an outstanding game. He saved 4 or 5 long range efforts. Again, I think hand on heart we should have had 3 points in that game as well. But look, a point at the Etihad, and I think we can only grow from that. And then the next weekend, of course, was the 4-2 over Leicester City. Martinelli, 2 from Trossard, and Havertz again. Justin James got 2. One, of course, was a screamer. Their keeper, Mads Hermansen, just an incredible game he had. Reminded me of Kasper Schmeichel in the year they won the league. It could have been, if I can truth, it could have been 7 or 8 that day only for the keeper. I thought we played really well that day. Calafiori again. Coming to yourself, John, the review of September, but how impressed were you of Riccardo Calafiori for the month of September? He had a great month, hadn't he?
He has certainly made an impression, a really good first impression. A hell of a way to introduce yourself with a goal like that at the Etihad. I've done the pre-match game podcast with you and Tony, the Man City fan from Sligo.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah.
And we both looked at it and said we were really looking forward to that match. We were really looking forward to seeing what kind of chess game Arteta and Pep were going to come up with. And the referee robbed us of that. At 2-1 at half time, it was Pep's move. What are you going to do? How are you going to change things? Arsenal are bullying you now at this stage. City were losing the physical battle, and then the red card comes on. Arsenal did the only thing they could do. Right, we've only got defenders. Let's bring them on, and let's try and beat us. And the amount of criticism they got from the press and the media was absolute bullshit. And that took the lead from the Sky presenters, the Sky so-called experts. What a bunch of morons. He expected to go to the Etihad with 10 men and come out and try and take on Man City. Liverpool done that a couple of seasons ago and got their asses handed to them 5-1. So, I was really annoyed. The dark arts. Phil Neville and Roy Keane giving out about the dark arts. Jesus Christ. Absolute morons. That annoyed me more than the sending off. The criticism they got.
The same people who always say that we had a soft underbelly.
Exactly. People have been giving out about Arsenal too soft, Arsenal are too nice, Arsenal aren't up for the fight, Arsenal haven't got the stomach for the fight. Did they not see the same game the rest of us saw? We scared the shit out of Man City that night. They had no answer.
Yeah. And that's they got
bloody.
I've never actually seen, John, just briefly, sorry if coming across, I've never seen Manchester City in a game that actually ran out of ideas. There was just no way through.
I was raging I didn't do the podcast after that match. I wasn't well. I know you asked me, but I just wasn't well. Yeah. And because I really wanted to point out, Pep got his tactics wrong. They're playing 10 men, and Pep had his 2 centre-halves on the ball at the edge of the box. Great for an Arsenal team. Go ahead, give it to the centre-half. The centre-half should have been in the middle and have the midfielders on the edge of the box.
He should have had Bernardo Silva on the edge of the box.
Absolutely, 100%. I just couldn't get my head around it. It was an absolute masterclass in defending Arsenal put in that day. Absolute. And the amount of criticism they got from so-called experts. Why? I couldn't believe it. Honest to Christ. And then you knew you had Man City scared because of the way the players reacted. They're jumping around like they won the match.
Yeah.
Haaland going around, be humble. Silva coming around said, I've no respect for the team that doesn't come here to play football.
Sorry, just briefly, John, on Haaland there. Sorry, the throwing the ball at Gabriel's head. How childish is Haaland?
Not just childish, but we both know. I'll go back in time. If Shaka had done that, he'd have been kicked out of the country. Never mind the 2 or 3 match ban. And we all know it. It's double standards. Can
I make an observation on this though? Because
John
has been, and said he was frustrated he couldn't do the show because we'd all so much to say about that.
Yeah.
But I think we definitely got under their skin.
100%.
In the face of one of the highest levels of adversity that I can ever remember watching an Arsenal team.
Yeah.
But what a bit like that again, you know, we need to stop obsessing about Man City. Get on with it, because the team has.
This is going to be my next point about Hannon throwing the ball in the back of Gabriel's head. Gabriel didn't make any fuss about it.
Yeah, get on
Gabriel has him marked for the game of the Emirates. I hope he takes it for injury time and not for the first 10 minutes. But as Eamonn said, the players got on with it.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Yeah.
There's no excuses, no arguments, no pointing fingers. They just got on with it. And that was going to be my next point, Eamonn. And that's great, because that's definitely going to have Man City wound up. Because we didn't go after them in the press. We didn't go after them in the tunnel. We didn't go after them anywhere. Shrugged their shoulders, right? Fair enough. 2-0. Let's go. You know? Enjoy the fact he's got a point against 10 men. Go ahead. Yeah. We have you marked. We know you have your Rudy. We know we're under your skin. Best of luck to you. We'll be waiting for you. We'll be waiting for you in February. You just wait.
But John, we used to get a little pat on the head off Pep.
Yeah.
You know, Arsenal had a really good team, you know.
Yeah.
As they inflicted all their dark arts and their fouling on us, you know, we got under their skin because, I mean, even like Arteta says, well, I know I was there for 4 years. What's he talking about? Is he talking about financial fair play? It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
That was another thing. That's the press to understand this year.
Yeah.
He what he was trying to say. I know everybody up there. I love everybody up there. I know every single one of them. They're not having a go at me. They're not having a go at me tactics. I know what you're playing at. And the press twisted that. The fact that we have the press having a go at us, that just brings back memories. Us against them, George Graham, 91, all that.
Yeah, it also brings back memories of 2002 and Martin Cowan, and you know, so bring it on, you know.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I was going to make that point. I'm delighted with the way Arsenal reacted to this. They haven't risen to it.
Yeah,
they haven't risen to it. Arteta hasn't risen to it, and that's the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah, in terms of the 4-2 against Leicester at home, I think this is the game where we've seen welcome back kind of Gabriel Martinelli. I thought he had a great game that day, hadn't he? He got the goal, and his confidence has just risen, hasn't it? Really, from
he's been really good. I have to be honest. I think he's been excellent. His work rate's been brilliant. The finishing hasn't been there.
Yeah.
But everything else about his game is just getting better and better and better. Excuse me again. But the goal is gone. He's got a couple now, and you can see the lift it's given him. I've been delighted with the way Martinelli's had to shoot to be world class, absolutely top class. He hasn't stopped working for the team. He really hasn't. He's been an absolute joy. And I know when we get this is not getting ahead of the game. Martinelli to start games, Trossard to finish. I love that. Absolutely love that. That's a hell of a combination. When you have a full-time squad, you've got starters and finishers. It's great to have that option, and it's great to have Martinelli back, looking more like himself, because he's a real asset when he's on his game. Absolutely.
That's why it's great news that he's now injured.
Little niggle. That's all I hear. A little niggle. That's all it is.
Thanks for putting it down for us
all.
all.
See how Walker went off with a little niggle going 2-0.
Back 5 months later, yeah.
And then I think the bloke in the dressing room kneecapped him or something. I don't know what happened, but he was gone for the year. You know?
Your roundup, Eamonn, of September, those 3 matches.
Look, very, very briefly. Look, John has covered it all. I just put a note down. How did the Arsenal cope in the face of adversity? Was what September was about, because to come back from an international break, losing your skipper, who's the one that provides the most key passes, apart from Saka, actually, right? But the most kind of those passes that go in, that when a team comes with a low block, he's the one that's going to unlock that. You lose your captain, you go to Spurs, right? They're puffing their chest out a wee bit, and you do what we did there. And then you follow that up by going to Atlanta, as we spoke about, and then Manchester City, and get under their skin the way we did. It was a real, I mean, it just feels like that all of these character tests have all come in a compress. I mean, if you look, we just, without getting too far ahead of ourselves, by the time we come out of the next international break, we'll have played Man City, Villa, Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea all away.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it. You hit it on the nail. It's a character test that we're passing with flying colours.
It seems to be. It almost seems to be as if somebody who designed the computer fixture said, "Well, if this Arsenal team has notions about themselves, we're really going to crush them in the first 2 months of the season." And so far, September was all about surviving the crushing. Because I remember saying, when we lost Odegaard and that, and everybody was saying, "Well, we could get done at Tottenham." And we dropped the points against Brighton, and people were saying that by the time we play Man City, we could be 5 points behind them, and then if they beat us, we could be 8 points behind them. The league is over. And I was always saying, well, if we can get out of the first chunk of the season, if we can get to the end of November and still be within 3 points, 4 points, we have a serious position, right? Because of the way the fixtures have conspired. So September was all about adversity. The Leicester game, but sure, look, Leicester game was a freak. We had one moment where we weren't switched on when we came out of the dressing room. Probably the first thing COYG has done wrong all season. He got too deep defending a set piece. I think if it had been 5 minutes later in the game, that wouldn't have happened. They just weren't switched on. But you see, people say, "I was complacent." It wasn't. They just weren't switched on. And one of the things Arteta's tried to instill in the team is you have to be switched on all the time. Right? But what was the team's response to that? In between Leicester's first goal and Leicester's equaliser, we created 10 chances. So in any normal course of events, that game would have gone 3-1. And the Justin cracker that happened wouldn't have been, A, it probably wouldn't have happened, and B, it wouldn't have been as significant. The team really did well to get out and rescue itself that day. 85 minutes on the clock, I was there behind the goal, and I wouldn't be noted for this, I was still saying we're going to score. You could see the shape of the game.
I always felt it was a goal from it. Took longer than I expected, but I always thought it was a goal there.
Yeah, Leicester were getting more and more tired. They put a lot into that game, but we always find a way to get a goal, which is quite refreshing. You know, you always expect us to find that winner, where in years gone by, you probably would have thought we would have gone on to lose it when it got to 2-2, That moved on then to, of course, October, where we're at now, 3-1 against Southampton. Went behind through Cameron Archer, but a great fight back again. 2 goals within 10 minutes, Havertz and Martinelli, and Saka rounded it off with about 2 or 3 minutes ago. It was also the return of our former goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale, who got a really nice reception during the 90 minutes, and after the match, he was actually the last player to go off, which was quite poignant, and got a great send-off. John, 3-1 against Southampton, and a return of our former goalkeeper.
I'm delighted for Ramsdale. He got the reception he got. Again, this was a game where we tried to bring players in that hadn't played much. Jesus, Sterling. I thought they were actually quite unlucky in the first half, because there was some very desperate and sometimes lucky defending from Southampton, which prevented Arsenal from opening the scoring. I don't think we were terrible at all in the first half, especially the first 10-15 minutes. Jesus Christ, just waiting for the ball to hit the back of the net. So I thought Jesus and Sterling were quite unlucky in that stage. Second half, the goals, well taken by Arthur. It was one of those times where Saliba didn't quite get close enough. He stuck it in the back of the net, took a little bit of a deflection. But the response was brilliant. The response was brilliant. Just at the 3 minutes later, that man, those 2 guys, Saka and Havertz. Saka intercepting the pass, laying it off, great finish from Havertz. From then on, I thought it was only cat matter of time we'd get the goals. Southampton defended manfully. I'll give them that. But we had the firepower to come off the bench to finish the game. And this is, again, I keep going back to the squad game. It's those players aren't on the pitch, aren't quite getting it done. Sterling had to come off at that stage. Jesus had to come off at that stage. Had players to bring on that could do the job. So, job done. You know, I wouldn't be losing the head over it. You have to use your squad this season. You have to use your squad. You cannot use the same 11 players for 60-odd games. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, comfortable enough win, Eamonn. Wasn't a 3-1, bit of a scare.
Look, I was on the review show after that game. Covered it. John has analysed it, but the most telling thing, when you strip it all down, the most telling moment, and I was standing on the clock, the most telling moment of that game was when Southampton players were over going wild with their crowd. Our players were all standing on the halfway line. Not one of them was looking at the other saying, "Well, what did you do?" You know, there's none of this holding the hands on the head and none of that, right? Okay, and you know, once we got our way back into that game after a couple of minutes, you could feel it in the ground. There was only going to be one outcome, and it was. I'll sum it up by saying it was a more uncomfortable win than it should have been, but we got the job done and made it comfortable. But like by the end of the game, you know, if we'd played another 10 minutes, we'd got another 2 or 3, you know?
Yeah. It was that sort of game, yeah. And with 7 games gone already, it's 17 points and a pretty decent 4-7 games so far. It's Bournemouth to come on Saturday away, followed by Liverpool at home, Newcastle on the 2nd of November away, and Chelsea away on the 9th as well. So 3 away games out of 4 there. So we take it game by game. I'd like to thank, as always, been a busy show, John. Thanks for coming on. John Melia, and to Eamonn Donnelly, as always, pal. Thanks for coming on. Of course, as I said at the start of the show, if all Arsenal fans, welcome for the 35th anniversary this coming Saturday, October the 19th. Should be a good day, and hopefully an Arsenal victory to round it off. Like, comment and subscribe on our Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel, and also listen to us on Spotify. But until our review next Monday of the Bournemouth fixture, have a great week, and thanks for listening.